Around the narrow streets of Monte Carlo, it was Stoffel Vandoorne who took pole position for what is the most important qualifying session of the season, as Sebastian Vettel grabbed yet another front row start. Just behind, the Red Bulls locked out the second row, proving their strength lies at non-power circuits. Aarava will start ahead of Gasly this time, but both were less than 2/10 off the quickest time. Hamilton was unsatisfied at the end of today's sessions, only managing P5 and over 3/10 slower than his teammate, while Giovinazzi outperformed his Toro Rosso once again to take the second spot on the third row. The struggles of Mercedes continued today, Wehrlein more so than Verstappen, with Pascal barely in the top 10 and Max starting alongside his former teammate Carlos Sainz. But both drivers seem to be extracting the maximum from a car that is clearly down on power. The gap between Vandoorne and Hamilton was a big talking point when the checkered flag fell at the end of the session, but the attention quickly shifted to Ricciardo, who was 4/10 slower than his German teammate and will be starting from a miserable P9.
What's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to my F1 MyDriver Career Mode, episode number 7 today for Season 4 at the Monaco Grand Prix. One of the jewels in the F1 calendar, and it should be a pretty damn good one. But if you did miss the last episode, guys, episode number 6, then be sure to go check that out. You might have missed it, and I'll say it again just to remind some people that may have not heard it. I'm uploading these Monday and Fridays at 7 PM, or as near as I can get to 7 PM every single Monday and Friday for now. It may ramp up a little bit, but for now it's every Monday and Friday ends of the weeks, so you may have missed episode 6 if you did not know about that. So go check that one out at the Canadian Grand Prix. Real big comeback fight and a lot of overtakes in that race, so be sure to go check that out. And thank you so much, guys, for the support on the episode and just continued awesome love in the comments. It's always great to read through after I've uploaded it, and you know, it's spent a day like, you know, on the channel. It's always great to come back and see all the nice kind of feedback and everything like that. It's just great. So thank you guys so much for that. So without further ado, let's take you through the full MyDriver grid for the upcoming Monaco Grand Prix. I'll hand it over to Justin.
Taking a look now at the starting grid for today's Monaco Grand Prix, it is Stoffel Vandoorne who takes pole position at a circuit that is very important for qualifying. He's joined on the front row by Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari, getting another front row start. Just behind them comes the two Red Bulls, Aarava ahead of Pierre Gasly on this particular occasion. Lewis Hamilton will start this race from 5th position. He'll be joined on the third row by Antonio Giovinazzi. Then comes Max Verstappen in 7th position, and in a Mercedes that's down on power, he's joined by his former teammate Carlos Sainz on row 4. Then comes Ricciardo and Wehrlein rounding out the top 10. Nico Rosberg managed to grab 11th position for the Audi team. They're very happy about that. He'll be joined by Charles Leclerc. Mick Schumacher in 13th position. He is joined by Kevin Magnussen on the 7th row of the grid. Then comes Sergio Perez and Valtteri Bottas for the Williams team in 15th and 16th position, respectively. Nico Hülkenberg in the Renault could only manage 17th. He's joined by Romain Grosjean on that grid. Then comes Sergei Sirotkin quite a ways down off of his teammate Esteban Ocon in 20th position, and Stroll and Newgarden bringing up the rear of the grid.
So that was the starting lineup ahead of today's race. Let's get into it. We go to 5 red lights for the Monaco Grand Prix. 5 lights are out and we're underway, and it's a pretty damn good start from us, and Vettel has got a shocking start. He's bogged down. He's down to P5 potentially as Hamilton and Gasly go side by side into turn 1. We're up into second place to chase down Stoffel Vandoorne, but look at the gap me and Vandoorne have already got to all our counterparts on the grid. Gasly in P3 it looks like, and Hamilton there in 4th place, but I think Hamilton might have just got it, I think, there in the background. I think Hamilton's up into 3rd place, so a great start from the Britishman in the McLaren, and a shocking start for the German in the Ferrari. Vettel, once again, we've seen it time and time again, the Ferraris, really poor clutch system this season. I don't know what it is with them, but really poor starts. I think Ricciardo's down out of the top 10 at the moment, so crazy scenes at the beginning of this race. Let's take a look at a replay of Vettel's start, and look at that. He just completely no getaway off the grid. Just these Ferrari cars this season, especially the last like 5 races, you got to say, the clutch system or whatever they've got going on just not been working at all. And Vettel is down in P5, not where he wants to be if he started from P2 on the grid on the front row. But someone who did get a great start was Lewis Hamilton. A really nice one for him. He gets a good getaway, overtakes Vettel quite easily. Then down the inside of Gasly, they go side by side up the hill. It looks like Gasly will just about tuck in behind in the mirrors there on the left. So it was Hamilton who was up in 3rd all along up the hill. And finally, the last replay here will be a man who got the best start out of all of them on the grid. Look at this. Nico Rosberg and his Audi from what was P11 just outside the top 10. Electrifying start to overtake Pascal Wehrlein and Daniel Ricciardo in the Ferrari in his Audi car. Absolutely amazing start for Rosberg, just showing what kind of potential maybe this car is shaping up to be in the years to come. We'll have to see, really. But we move on to lap 3 now, back to us, back to our onboard. We're coming through the final corner there, really right up Van Dorn's gearbox, trying to hustle and harry him, trying to maybe look for a place to overtake him. We've got DRS, we set the fast lap of the Grand Prix, but we just can't get it. We do a double lockup to not hit the back of Van Dorn, and we just have to kind of stick behind him. So one of the many characteristics of Monaco, unfortunately, it's very, very difficult to overtake, as we all know here, being fans of F1. So we're going to have to try and basically calculate this and see where we can actually do this and be a little bit patient in this race. But we move on to the end of lap 4 through the final corner. Looks like we're a little bit closer to Van Dorn than we have been so far. With DRS, we're going to try and close up as much as we can. Just going to try and off-put him a little bit. And he's locked up. Double lock-up from Van Dorn. And it's worked. We're side by side now with the Belgium, our rival so many times before in MyDriver. We go side by side up the hill. So close. He's tapped us. No! We've lost a bit of our front wing on the right-hand side. I think that was a big chunk of the end plate that's come off there, and we've lost a heap of time, losing momentum. You can see Hamilton and Gasly now in that train of cars coming through with Vettel in 5th, and I think that's Giovinazzi in 6th place behind him. But look at that, I'm already losing some time to Van Dorn through the slow hairpin, and you can see I'm trying to back up Hamilton a little bit as I try and recompose myself, because I wasn't really ready to be squeezed a little bit into the wall like that. It was unfortunate, very much I think a racing incident, to be honest, because it was just unfortunate that Van Dorn, the way his car was on the track, kind of jumped up a little bit. His right side pod tapping my left front tyre, and I went into the wall. Thankfully, not a tyre off, because that could have been quite easy to do on simulation damage, but thankfully not. You can see on the mini-map the gap that Van Dorn's got, so I actually dive into the pits right now because you can see that I was losing so much time, hand over fist, with this broken front wing. Wasn't too much of a breakage, but, you know, Monaco, probably one of the worst places to nick even just a little bit of the end plate, so I need a new front wing on. We're putting on the super soft tyres, trying to go a little bit longer in this race, and I'm hoping that we come out into some clean air here, so that I can basically just blitz it and push on these tyres, and try and do a huge undercut on, you know, well, potentially Van Dorn. I mean, I'll be saying that, I'll be lying if I said we could probably get him, because that's quite optimistic there, but we'll try our best and at least keep ahead of Hamilton, because he definitely had better pace than me towards the end of that stint because of the lack of downforce from the front end, especially into most of these corners. You know, when you got the front right off, you can't really turn in left into a left-hander very well. So we move on towards lap 9. We're in P20 at the moment. You can see we're right behind Lance Stroll, so we've caught up to this little train of 4 cars here. And then after these 4 cars is a nice bit of clean air, so I need to really get a move on and overtake these cars as fast as I can. We've got a great run through turn 1. Absolute perfect turn 1 that was. Great run up the hill. We'll go down the inside of Lance Stroll. Very, very unorthodox position to overtake. So close to the barrier on the left. And we just about managed to hang it around the outside. And that was a moment to really hold your breath there, because we got so close to either tapping Stroll on the right or the walls on the left. But we've managed to make it work, and that's exactly what my engineer was telling me on the radio. We need to get past these cars. We need to get into that clean air. You can see it in the mini-map up ahead, and we go down the inside of Newgarden with some ease and some haste, as we need to keep it going, keep the momentum going. And so now we're behind Ocon, who's caught up behind Grosjean, doing quite a good job to defend, and that's going to help me out, because we go down the inside in the final corner on Esteban Ocon, and we get that position, and now we can move on to Grosjean, who was going pretty slowly. So this hopefully should be an equally easy move. We go into the casino section on the next lap, on lap 10, going towards the end of sector 1. We're going to dive down the inside, lock up a little bit on the right tyre, but we get the car turned in. Grosjean leaves us the room, a little bit of oversteer for good measure on the exit, but that has been a really fantastic sequence of 4 overtakes in a rapid fashion in only about at least 2 laps there only. So great stuff. We're up into P16, and now we've got all that clean air ahead of us. So we've pushed as hard as we can. We're moving on towards lap 11. We've now got some people in the pit stops at the moment, so slowly they're coming into the pits. You can see Sebastian Vettel is coming out the pits. I think that's his dot on the mini-map up ahead, and he's out ahead of us. So remember, Vettel was in P5, so that means we've lost a lot of time. We've lost a lot of time with the kind of lack of speed, without that little bit of front wing on the first stint, and also we've as much as we tried, we did lose time overtaking those 4 cars. Unfortunately, you know, it was tough timing, but ideally I would have liked to have come out in more clean air than I did, because passing those guys did take some time. And so it's taken us a further 2 laps onto the middle part of lap 13 through the swimming pool section to catch up to Vettel, who's now being held up by the Williams car. I think that's Bottas, because we passed Stroll obviously earlier on, so that's going to help me out a little bit as we close up to Vettel, right up his gearbox. I'm going to brake slightly just to make sure I don't smash into the back of him, but he's definitely getting held up here, so he'll probably be screaming on the radio about this Williams car up ahead of him who's not going fast enough. He's got DRS on Bottas. I've got DRS on him. We're going to move to the right side. Giovinazzi! Oh my boy, Jesus. We got very, very close to Giovinazzi out the pit. I was going to say we're moving to the right-hand side to maybe try and scare Vettel the same way we did to Van Dorn, but no. We got so close to smashing into the back of the Italian in our junior F1 team. So let's look at a replay here, just see how close this was. Look at that. I left that pretty late. I could have left it even later, but that was so close for comfort, because I had DRS as well, remember, and I kind of quite violently moved to the left-hand side of the circuit. So I could have even lost the back end just with the DRS not giving enough downforce. So unbeknownst to Giovinazzi, he just continues through. No harm done for him, but a little known to him that he knew how close that was. For me, probably taking out his rear left tyre there. But now we're going to swimming pool. You can see Bottas still holding up this train, and now it's a train of about 6 cars or 5 cars here behind him, including Vettel and myself. And speaking of Vettel, we're going to do a bit of a switchback undercut move. He's on the Ultra Softs, we're on the Super Softs. We've got some good grip on the inside there, side by side through the final corner. We'll go side by side across the line. Giovinazzi might try something, but no, there's some cars coming out of the pit. It's Gasly, my teammate. We go side by side, tap his tyre a little bit, and Gasly comes out ahead of us both. And we're both going to close up on Pierre. This is going to be so close. Look at this. 6 cars so close to one another at Monaco. Great to witness, but we're still trying to hang it around the outside of Vettel, and it's not worked out. So after all of that action and drama, we're still not ahead of this bloody German. It's taken so long. He's really frustrating me now. We've spent a good 5 laps now trying to chase him down and overtake him, and it's not worked, and he's really wrecking our race, to be honest. But I guess for him that's a great thing, because, you know, we are main title rivals, but we need to get this move done on Vettel. So I'm going to size him up down the inside of Raskas. So close down the inside. Tap Gasly a little bit, because he's actually going so slowly. I'm trying to push Gasly through the corner to let me through and kind of keep on going, keep the momentum, and we just about managed that. And that was oh so close to Vettel's rear tyre and the barrier on the right. And that kind of reminds me of a move I made similarly on a Toro Rosso, I think it was, in Ultra Mod a few years back. So that was a very, very nice move, very satisfying, and a much needed one, because by lap 18, Gasly sets the fast lap of the Grand Prix, and he's you can see there by that gap on the minimap previously that he was getting away from us. So it's time to come in now for the soft tyres, go the distance now on these set of tyres. Now, I think there might be some rain forecast for the race ahead, and so that may come into play, but I want to try and play the long game either way on these soft tyres, and hopefully now we'll come out in some sort of clean air. We've got Bottas, I think this is, coming across the line to pass us, but apart from that, you can see no other cars around us, so we're pretty good for clean air. We can just get past Bottas very quickly, and then we can get a move on and get pushing ahead. But that was a very crucial move on Vettel, because immediately, as soon as I passed Vettel there, although Gasly was pulling away from me, I pulled away from Vettel by a good few tenths, so that was much needed. But now on to lap 19, on towards lap 20 this will be, as we cross the line coming up. We've got DRS on Bottas. This should be a pretty easy, simple move on the right-hand side, down the inside there, into turn 1, lock up a little bit, hit the apex, get the corner on the exit, and we're up into P13. And now, look at that, lovely bit of clean air to Pascal Wehrlein. So we'll push on and try and catch him up. So we move on to lap 21 or 22, actually, setting the fast lap of the Grand Prix as we do it. And we have caught up to Pascal. So a very familiar name, and it's time to try and pass him as fast as we can. We can't let him hold him up here. And this is kind of unfamiliar sight. I've not been used to looking at the back of Pascal's car, to be honest, because I was never used to that when we were teammates. I was always ahead of him, but we're going to try it now. Down the inside, audacious Sergio Perez-like move. Down the inside, side by side, but he gives us the room, so fair play to him. Much respect between two former, you got to say, toxic teammates there. And I was surprised Wehrlein didn't squeeze me, because that could have been very, very easily a squeeze on the left arm code there, and that could have been very, very nasty for us. But you can see also there are some droplets of rain there, so as we have passed Wehrlein, it's now getting to a crucial point in the race as we move on to lap 25 now, 3 laps later. And we've caught up to Magnussen, but as you can see, me and him are going very, very slowly. Don't worry, you're not watching the video now in slow-mo. This is just really how slow we're going, because the track is so slippery now. It's definitely time for inters, and so we're both going to come in. All the cars behind us are going to come in, and so it's time to strap on those green wall tyres. And this will probably be to the end of the race, so we need to do, we need to get some work done and put these tyres to good use, because obviously so far in the season, when it's been intermediates or the wet conditions as it were, we've been pretty damn good against the rest of the grid. So we need to use the pace we know we have against most of the grids and try and get a move on here. So the first task, overtake Magnussen, and then the next task, try and catch whoever is up ahead. I'm guessing the likes of Gasly, probably Van Dorn and Hamilton, you got to say, because they're both McLarens. I haven't seen him since the first stint, and I have no idea where Ricciardo is, so I have a feeling he might be up there. But we're going to look at a replay now. Quite a crucial one here, actually, because this is Van Dorn's pit stop, and he gets jumped here by the Ferrari car up ahead, which is Daniel Ricciardo. So we were talking about both these drivers before. You can see this is Verstappen in P3, it looks like, because this is P2, Giovinazzi and Gasly. Pierre Gasly, my teammate, is leading this Grand Prix. So it's Gasly from Giovinazzi, Verstappen, Ricciardo and Van Dorn. So Van Dorn lost out big time there with that pit stop. So yet again, we're seeing McLaren making mistakes yet again and dropping points for their drivers. And you got to say that's been a big story of this season so far. You know, McLaren, they've had the pace. You know, they've been so close to Ferrari in qualifying so many times, even on front rows now, and yet they're dropping points left, right and centre, and they're nowhere near in the title rivalry because they're losing so many points like that. But moving back to us, we're not making any mistakes. We go nice down the inside of Magnussen and Schumacher, that was, on the ultra soft. So kind of weird. I know his father was known for being a bit of a raymaster, but I don't think he can really trundle around Monaco on ultra softs, to be honest, in these conditions. It's far too wet for that. But anyway, we go up those positions, and now we're up into P6 as we pass Hamilton and Carlos Sainz. So Hamilton's not had a great race either. So I assumed Hamilton and Van Dorn were right up there. We know what happened to Van Dorn, but Hamilton just not had the pace seemingly, so he's down the order. So now we move on to lap 32. A few laps later, it's taken us a while to actually catch up to Van Dorn because there's quite a sizable gap. But thankfully, Ricciardo really hasn't been going very fast. He's been holding Stoffel up quite a bit here. So at the moment, this is the battle for what will be fourth place of Ricciardo, Van Dorn, then myself. Up ahead, there's the trio of Gasly, Giovinazzi and Verstappen in that order, surprisingly. So Giovinazzi doing a fantastic job right now in the Toro Rosso, once again making a case for being promoted. Just the fact that there's no kind of seats available at the moment in the top teams for now. We'll look about that into the next season. But anyway, moving back on to our POV, on to lap 34, through into towards this swing pool section. We're still trying to size up a place where we could maybe overtake Van Dorn. You can see the spray coming off his car is quite big, so I need to make sure this is calculated and make sure I'm not going to hit him at all. So we go into Raskas quite gingerly, brake early, get a tighter turn in here, get a good drive off that corner, and we're going to make a pop down the inside, just like a similar move we made to Vettel earlier on in the Grand Prix. We'll go side by side with Van Dorn. This time though, Van Dorn is going to probably, I think, stay behind us. I think he'll just about try. No, actually he's going to go for it. He brakes late, tries to go, he's gone deep. He's gone deep, so he doesn't make that move. So I was going to say that I don't think he's going to back. I thought he was going to back down, unlike Vettel did, but no, he's put his foot in. He actually broke later than me, but then he went way too deep into that first turn. So Van Dorn tried his best, but we're up into P5 now, and now we'll chase after and we'll right up the gearbox of P4. Daniel Ricciardo, the lead Ferrari in this race. Vettel, I have no idea where he is in this race, but at the moment he's chucking away points in this championship. But we're I thought about making a move down the inside there just for a split second, but I thought back a bit. I held back, but we've got a good exit on that corner. We'll go on the right-hand side, round the outside of Ricciardo, the place where Ricciardo tried to overtake Hamilton, remember, in 2016, but Hamilton squeezed him into the wall. Ricciardo has not squeezed me into the wall, and we made it round the outside there, and we're up into P4. So now we move on to the final lap of the Grand Prix, through the final few corners. Unfortunately, too big of a gap to Verstappen and Giovinazzi up ahead, and it means we're going to have to finish and settle down for fourth place at the moment, and I'm going to have to swallow a bit of a bitter pill and see my teammate Pierre Gasly win a second race this season when I've not won a race yet, or not even looked like winning a race yet. Gasly cheering away. He is the master of Monaco today, and Giovinazzi, what a drive. We need to mention him. What a drive there. P2 for the Italian. What a good job he's done. And Verstappen as well on P3 in that Mercedes car, that inferior Mercedes car, getting up into P3 on the podium. So a great drive from all three of them, really. Sebastian Vettel finishing outside the points-paying positions today. So a horrible race for him to forget. You know, it started off with that really shocking start, and he's finished it horribly outside the points in P12. And unfortunate for Nico Rosberg, who also got such a stunning start, and I was hoping to maybe see him in the points today. Didn't quite make it through and just eventually fell down the order. And because of Vettel not scoring any points, I did mention that I was a little bit annoyed that Gasly's winning 2 races and I've not been near one yet. to be honest, I don't need to be, because Vettel, with that bottle at this particular race, and with myself finishing in P4, we're now 4 points ahead of Vettel. We've jumped him, and we're into P1 for the first time this season in the championship with 7 races in. So that's very good news for us, and both me and Gasly, consistency is there from last season. Remember, Red Bull were the Constructors' champions from last season when I won the championship. In the Mercedes, they won the Constructors. That was out of pure consistency of both of them scoring highly. They may have not individually done well, but they both scored really good for the team. And that means also for us that Red Bull now move up into first place of the Constructors. So that's a brilliant day in the office for Red Bull all round, you got to say. You can see Van Dorn did close up to Hamilton previously in the tables there. Not probably as much as he would like to, considering he's on pole position, but a good day for everyone else. Gasly moving up the order. Ricciardo outscoring Vettel once again to try and keep his mark in the team there, but good day, as I said, for us. So I'm really happy with that, and hopefully soon we'll be there for the win. I think that with the European races coming, a lot more of the European races coming up soon, I think that's going to be the time, because generally on F1 games I'm a lot better at the European rounds than I am at the flyaway. So we'll look out for that and hope and kind of see what goes on. But guys, if you have enjoyed that episode, smash that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do subscribe for weekly Formula 1 content. Guys, as ever, thank you guys so much for the support and smashing those like buttons. It really does mean quite a lot, and also the comments as well. So thank you guys so much for that. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you enjoyed the rest of your day, and I'll see you guys next time.